Have you ever wondered why, despite all our efforts to control every aspect of our lives, we often find ourselves overwhelmed, anxious, and powerless? It's a paradox we live daily. Our desperate clutching for control only leads to more chaos. From the moment we wake until the moment we sleep, we strive to mold the world around us, to dictate outcomes, and to shield ourselves from uncertainty. But what if this very urge to control is the source of our deepest suffering? What if real strength lies not in mastery over everything, but in the art of surrender? This is not a call to weakness or passivity. It is a radical redefinition of power, a power that flows from acceptance, presence, and the wisdom to know what can be changed and what cannot. Control is an illusion because life, by its nature, is fluid and unpredictable. The more we try to anchor ourselves rigidly to plans and expectations, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment. We forget that to live is to adapt, to flow with the currents rather than resist them. This resistance creates tension, a constant friction between who we are and who we think we should be. It breeds frustration because the world refuses to conform to our will. The trees do not grow faster when we demand it. The rain does not fall on schedule. But within this surrender to the natural order, we find freedom, freedom from the chains of our own compulsions. Consider the human mind as a battlefield where control battles chaos. The mind craves certainty, patterns, and predictability. We seek to tame the unknown with rules, labels, and structures. Yet, paradoxically, the mind is also the very source of unpredictability. Our thoughts, feelings, and impulses rise and fall like waves, often beyond conscious command. To insist on complete mental control is to wage war on our own nature. Instead, true mastery arises when we learn to observe these waves without drowning in them. It is the skill of detachment, watching the storm with calm eyes, knowing it will pass, and not identifying entirely with its violence. This detachment is not coldness. It is a form of strength that protects the self from being tossed about by every passing emotion or external event. It is the foundation of emotional resilience. Imagine a tree bending gracefully in the wind rather than breaking. That tree knows the secret. Resistance invites destruction. Yielding preserves life. In this yielding there is power, a silent strength that does not shout but endures. This is the kind of power we rarely celebrate, yet it underpins all lasting success and peace. Our culture often confuses power with dominance. It praises the loudest voices, the most aggressive strategies, and the relentless pursuit of control over others. But dominance is fragile. It depends on external factors, fear, compliance, and circumstances that can change in an instant. True power, on the other hand, is internal. It is rooted in self-awareness and grounded in acceptance. It does not seek to conquer the world, but to understand it deeply. This understanding allows one to navigate life's complexities with grace, making choices aligned with reality rather than illusion. In surrendering control, we do not abandon responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to respond, to act consciously rather than reactively. It is about recognizing the difference between what lies within our influence and what does not. Many spend their lives tangled in futile efforts to change the uncontrollable, exhausting themselves in the process. But wisdom lies in discerning the boundaries of our power and focusing energy where it can have meaningful impact. This discernment is a lifelong practice, refined through experience and reflection. Surrender is often misunderstood as giving up or resignation. Yet, it is a dynamic process. It requires courage to face uncertainty and the humility to admit that we do not have all the answers. It demands patience to wait for the right moment to act and the clarity to know when action is futile. This tension between action and inaction, between effort and letting go, is the heart of living skillfully. It is the dance between control and surrender that shapes the quality of our lives. Look around and notice how nature embodies this principle effortlessly. Rivers carve valleys not by brute force but by gentle persistence. The seasons change without complaint or resistance. Animals adapt with instinctive wisdom. Humans, with our complex minds, can learn from this natural intelligence. We are not separate from the flow of life, but an integral part of it. To live fully means to align ourselves with its rhythms rather than fight against them. There is also a profound spiritual dimension to surrender. When we stop clinging to control, we open space for mystery and possibility. We acknowledge that life's meaning is not something we manufacture, but something we discover through engagement and openness. This realization can transform fear into trust, not blind trust in external forces, but a deep confidence in the process of becoming. Trust that no matter what happens, we have the capacity to respond with strength and wisdom. The journey toward this kind of power is not linear. It involves setbacks, confusion, and moments of doubt. We must learn to sit with discomfort and uncertainty without panic. This practice builds what can be called inner sovereignty, the ability to remain grounded in oneself regardless of external chaos. It is a fortress built not of walls but of presence, clarity, and calm. In our relationships, the illusion of control often leads to conflict. We try to change others to fit our desires, failing to see their autonomy. This struggle erodes connection and breeds resentment. But when we surrender the need to control others, we create space for genuine connection based on respect and freedom. This does not mean tolerating abuse or neglect, but rather holding firm boundaries while accepting what others choose. In this delicate balance lies the essence of mature relationships. Ultimately, the power of surrender challenges our deepest conditioning about strength and success. It invites us to redefine what it means to be strong, not as an iron fist gripping tightly, but as a river flowing steadily. It encourages us to embrace uncertainty not as a threat, but as the canvas on which life paints its richest patterns. This shift opens the door to a life that is not only more peaceful, but also more vibrant, creative, and meaningful. If you are willing to explore this path, start with small steps. Notice where in your life you are fighting against what is. Observe the tension in your body and mind when you try to force outcomes. Practice letting go in moments where control is illusory, traffic jams, conversations that don't go your way, unexpected changes. Each moment of surrender builds the muscle of acceptance and the wisdom to act with clarity. As this practice deepens, you will find that power does not diminish but grows. It becomes less about controlling the world and more about mastering yourself. This mastery is the foundation for true freedom, the freedom to live authentically, respond wisely, and find peace regardless of external conditions. In a world obsessed with control, the courage to surrender is the greatest act of rebellion and the highest expression of strength. The irony is that by releasing control, you gain it, not over others, but over your own life. You reclaim your sovereignty not as a tyrant, but as a wise steward of your existence. This is the power that endures, the power that cannot be taken away, and the power that leads to a life well lived. So next time you feel overwhelmed by the urge to control, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what if surrender is not failure, but the beginning of true strength? What if letting go is the way forward, not backward? This question alone can open your mind to new possibilities and set you on a path of transformation. Remember, the journey is yours to make. The choice between control and surrender is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice. With patience and courage, you can learn to dance with life's uncertainties, to flow like a river, and to embody the true power of surrender. When we consider the nature of surrender, it's important to reflect on how our personal narratives shape our relationship with control. From childhood, many of us are conditioned to believe that control equals safety. We learn to tie our identity to achievements, possessions, or the approval of others. These external anchors feel solid, but they are inherently unstable because they depend on forces beyond our command. The moment one of these anchors is pulled away, be it loss of status, health, or a relationship, the foundation crumbles and we are left adrift. The courage to surrender involves the dismantling of these false foundations and the construction of a new base, an internal sanctuary that no external change can breach. This internal sanctuary is built on self, knowledge, and the acceptance of paradox. Human existence is riddled with contradictions. We desire permanence in an impermanent world, seek certainty in a sea of doubt, and long for freedom while craving security. The wisdom of surrender is to hold these contradictions without forcing a resolution. Instead of demanding the impossible, we learn to live in tension, finding peace in the acceptance of complexity. This is a subtle, nuanced form of strength, one that honors the full spectrum of human experience without collapsing into despair or denial. The process of surrender also challenges our cultural myths about success. Society often glorifies relentless ambition and control as markers of achievement. We idolize the person who has it all together, who commands their environment with unwavering authority. Yet, if we look beneath the surface, we see many of these figures struggling with burnout, anxiety, and disconnection. Their external power masks inner turmoil. Surrender offers a different model, one where success is measured not by external conquests, but by inner harmony and adaptability. It teaches that the ability to let go is as crucial as the ability to hold on. In practical terms, surrender manifests as an openness to change and uncertainty. It means acknowledging that our plans might fail, and that this failure is not a reflection of our worth. It means recognizing that control is often about ego trying to maintain a safe self-image. When we loosen this grip, we create space for creativity and growth. Without surrender, innovation stagnates because it requires stepping into the unknown. The greatest breakthroughs in art, science, and personal growth emerge not from control, but from experimentation, failure, and the willingness to be vulnerable. Moreover, surrender deepens our capacity for empathy and connection. When we stop trying to control others or outcomes, we become more present to the realities of those around us. This presence allows us to listen more deeply, understand more fully, and respond with compassion. Relationships flourish when we respect the autonomy of others and accept them as they are, rather than attempting to mold them to our desires. This acceptance is itself a form of power, the power to foster genuine intimacy and trust. Another profound aspect of surrender is its relationship to time. Our obsession with control often manifests in an attempt to manage time, to speed it up, slow it down, or make every moment productive. Yet time, like life itself, refuses to be controlled. It flows inevitably forward, indifferent to our plans and pressures. Surrender invites us to live more fully in the present, to embrace each moment as it comes without resisting or regretting what is past or worrying excessively about the future. This presence in the now is where life truly unfolds. In this present moment, surrender reveals its paradoxical nature. By giving up the struggle to control, we gain control over our experience. We no longer suffer from the anxiety of uncertainty because we trust our capacity to meet whatever arises. This trust is not naive optimism, but a grounded confidence born from experience and self-awareness. It transforms how we face challenges, not as threats to be vanquished, but as opportunities for growth and learning. Surrender also has a transformative effect on our fears. Fear often arises from the unknown, from a perceived loss of control. By practicing surrender, we confront fear directly, without the usual defenses. We allow ourselves to feel the discomfort, the vulnerability, without trying to escape or suppress it. Over time, this practice dissolves fear's power. What once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. This is not about eliminating fear, but changing our relationship to it, seeing fear as a signal rather than a prison. In the broader social and political context, the illusion of control is magnified. Societies seek to impose order through laws, systems, and ideologies. While some structure is necessary, excessive control breeds rigidity, oppression, and resistance. History shows us the consequences of this: revolutions, social upheaval, and systemic collapse. Healthy societies balance order and freedom, control and spontaneity. Individuals who embody surrender contribute to this balance by modeling flexibility, openness, and acceptance, creating ripples that can transform collective consciousness. Philosophically, surrender touches on the age-old question of free will versus determinism. If so much of life is beyond our control, where does freedom lie? Surrender suggests that freedom is not about controlling external events, but about mastering our internal response. It is the freedom to choose attitude, perception, and action within given circumstances. This internal freedom is the ultimate form of sovereignty. It liberates us from victimhood and empowers us to create meaning in any situation. The spiritual dimension of surrender also connects us to something greater than ourselves. Many traditions teach that surrender is a path to transcendence, the letting go of egoic control to merge with a larger reality. Whether one calls this God, the universe, or simply the flow of life, surrender opens us to a deeper wisdom and peace. It reminds us that we are part of an interconnected whole, and that true power lies in harmony rather than domination. Practically, cultivating surrender requires intentional practices. Meditation, mindfulness, journaling, and reflective solitude help develop awareness of where we cling to control. Developing a daily practice of observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment fosters detachment and insight. Learning to pause before reacting creates space for conscious choice rather than automatic response. Over time, these practices shift neural pathways, rewiring the brain for acceptance and flexibility. It is also essential to cultivate patience. Surrender is not a switch but a gradual process. We will fall back into old patterns of control and resistance. This is natural. Each return is an opportunity to practice again with more awareness. Compassion toward ourselves during this process is crucial. The inner critic, which thrives on control and perfection, must be softened into a supportive guide. Another important aspect is understanding the difference between surrender and passivity. Surrender is active and engaged. It requires discernment, knowing when to act and when to let go. It is like a skilled sailor adjusting the sails to the wind rather than trying to force the ship in a direction against the current. This skillful action born from surrender is more effective and sustainable than brute force. In leadership and influence, surrender transforms the way power is exercised. Leaders who embody surrender do not dominate or coerce. They inspire and empower. They listen deeply, adapt strategies as conditions change, and acknowledge their limitations. Such leaders create environments where creativity and trust flourish, and where followers feel valued rather than controlled. On a personal level, surrender reshapes how we view success and failure. Failure is no longer a catastrophe, but a lesson, a stepping stone toward growth. Success is not a final destination, but a dynamic state of balance and presence. This mindset reduces fear of failure and encourages risk-taking, innovation, and resilience. In the realm of creativity, surrender is often the gateway to flow states, those moments when we are fully immersed and effortlessly productive. Artists, writers, and thinkers frequently describe these states as moments of letting go, where the self dissolves and inspiration flows freely. Control disrupts flow, surrender invites it. Surrender also invites us to re-examine our attachments. Attachments to outcomes, people, and identities bind us to suffering. The practice of non-attachment does not mean indifference but loving without clinging. It means appreciating what we have while recognizing its impermanence. This awareness deepens gratitude and reduces anxiety. In times of crisis, surrender becomes a powerful tool. When confronted with illness, loss, or upheaval, the impulse to control can become desperate and destructive. Surrender offers a different response, acknowledging reality, feeling grief fully, and then finding the courage to move forward. It allows healing and transformation to take place. The physical body also benefits from surrender. Chronic tension, stress, and pain often stem from the refusal to release control. Practices like yoga, tai chi, and breathwork teach the body to let go, relax, and align with natural rhythms. This somatic surrender supports emotional and mental well-being. Finally, surrender is a path toward authenticity. When we stop trying to control how we appear to others, we reveal our true selves. This authenticity is magnetic and liberating. It frees us from the exhausting performance of control and opens us to genuine connection. In conclusion, the illusion of control is one of the deepest challenges we face as human beings. It shapes our fears, desires, and actions in ways that often lead us away from peace and fulfillment. Yet within this challenge lies a profound opportunity, the opportunity to discover strength in surrender, to find freedom not by gripping tightly, but by flowing gracefully, to master not the world, but ourselves. This path requires courage, patience, and humility. It asks us to embrace uncertainty and paradox, to transform fear into trust, and to live fully in the present. The power of surrender is not a surrender of spirit, but a liberation of it. It is the silent force that sustains resilience, the gentle current that guides growth, and the clear light that reveals truth. When we learn to surrender, we step into a power beyond control, one that is enduring, wise, and deeply alive.